Welcome to another episode of Dirtcheapdaily. In this episode, I'll walk you through the steps to make your own badgeless grill.
Alright, so the first thing you want to do is find some mesh. So this is a lock-on gutter guard made by Ameritech. I paid $3.50 for it over at my local hardware store, and it is the perfect size for this Legacy grill. It definitely would have fit my other second-gen Legacy as well. Basically, you just gotta measure and see how wide of mesh you need on your grill. So measure this distance here and this distance here, and then go find a piece of mesh that fits that you like. On the other grills we've done, we've just used expanded sheet metal, and I got it for free. We didn't have a piece long enough, so we had to weld two of them together, and you can see the seam there. On this one, I wanted to go with a look that's a little more in style. I'm still trying to keep its looks relatively conservative, and so I went for this mesh, which is a small beehive mesh. On the tag it says nothing. So another reason that I went for this is it's going to be way easier to cut. I can just use normal wire cutters on this instead of using my sheet metal shears. And it's pretty flexible, it's long enough, it's the look I want. I want the smaller mesh, and it should work out really well. It's going to look good. So first, grab your grill and kind of plan out what you're going to do. So I think I'm going to start out by just cutting off each one of these all the way around just with a hacksaw blade. Alright, that was just one. I think that's going to take forever. On this grill, there's so many little connection points that using a hacksaw is probably the easiest, but it's going to take the most work. The ideal tool would be a sawzall, I think. You'd be able to get in, cut everything off really fast. Unfortunately, I don't have a sawzall with me here in Utah. I'm going to go ahead and grab a jigsaw and see if that will work any better. I got my jigsaw, and really this is not the ideal tool that you want to be using, but it's kind of all I have on hand. So there are 20 individual connections that I need to cut, and even if I can get halfway through with the jigsaw, it's going to make my job way faster. So do what you can, use the tools you have, and be happy about it.
And I was like, that's cool.
When you're to this point, you can take the center section and toss it. Hold on to the Subaru emblem, of course, but the rest is garbage. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. It's really rough and there's still chunks of plastic that we want to get rid of. With the center section cut out, the plastic that extends out the back is really long, so I took the saw and cut them shorter. I got a little rough and cracked the top edge. Remember to be careful with it until you get the mesh attached, as it doesn't have any support until then. Then I took a file and leveled out all the little bumps left by the center section.
When you're to this point and you're happy with how everything was filed down, pull out some sandpaper and go over everything. Now is the time to sand, because the next part is either painting this or putting on your mesh, and you can't sand with the mesh on. So grab some sandpaper. I'm going to use 320 on it, and I'm going to be getting rid of my chrome, so I'm going to sand down all the chrome as well as all of the other plastic. So the 320 was a little too light of grit for the chrome, so I went and grabbed a 220, and I'm going to sand down all the chrome so I can paint it. Now the other thing you could do if you didn't want to spend the time sanding everything down, you could just go grab some Plasti Dip and Plasti Dip the whole thing. But make sure if you do that, use at least a full can on your grill. You need to get like 9 coats for it to be durable and to be a good product. When you only put on a couple coats, it's really hard to get off. It doesn't really adhere as well because it's not as thick. You want to get really good coverage that's thick everywhere. So if you're gonna Plasti Dip it, that works. Just make sure you use a lot. At this point, I have all the major sand work done. I've sanded the chrome, and I've sanded mostly the inside. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and start making the mesh actually fit. You can cut this just with wire cutters, or even pliers that have the wire cutter in them. You don't need big metal shears or a saw or anything like that because this stuff is so thin. It's really nice, it looks good. And so we're gonna go ahead and go grab some clippers and clip off this back edge and start shaping it. We're gonna start with these and see how well they work. And if you needed to, you could bend this out and have it extend. That's probably an extra inch. So it's 5 inches here. You could probably get it to 6 if you needed it. Luckily, these Subaru grills are pretty narrow. I'm gonna bend this out so it's a little easier to get to. Just watch it because it's trying to strangle me now. All right. So now we have this. It got me. We are going to shape this. We're just going to go in just like that. And so the next thing you have to decide as you're making this yourself, you can do whatever you want to it, right? So you could mount the mesh on the back. You can mount the mesh on the front. You can mount it in the middle. You can do whatever you want because you're making it. So I don't plan on filling all these gaps because I'm going to mount the mesh in the front, and then it's going to be all black. You won't really notice it unless you're right up close looking at it, and even when you're right up close looking at it, I don't really care. But if you wanted to mount it in the back, I'd recommend either fiberglassing over this or doing something to cover up all of this. Otherwise, it probably will look goofy. But since I'm planning on just putting the mesh on the front half, not worrying about it. So, just putting it down, this stuff shapes really easily. I'm gonna go ahead and use this edge right there and kind of stretch it to the curve. And then right here on my finger is where I want to cut. So I'm gonna cut right down here. So now what you want to do is using the side that was already cut, because unless you're really good, the bottom side might be kind of wavy. So you're going to use the side that is already cut. That's the side you're going to use as a guide. All right. So I have mine like this, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to use the top edge as my guide. There's a pretty good chance while you're doing this you can break your grill. It's not that big of an issue because you're going to be tying it all together with zip ties, and the mesh will give it some rigidity again. So don't worry if you crack it. It's not the end of the world. You're making this yourself anyway, so no worries. Okay. And to hold it in place, I'm going to go get my drill, a tiny drill bit, and drill a couple holes and put a zip tie in. So I got my drill bits, and my zip ties. I'm going to find a drill bit that's the same size as the zip tie. Okay, so I'm going to say right under here, you can see the cutout where the centerpiece was. And so that's where I'm going to drill. So I'm going to drill one hole down and then one hole back so I can get the zip tie from underneath in there, okay? So now we got to make sure this zip tie actually does fit through the hole and it's tight. And now grab our mesh, put it over the top, kind of center it this way. Grab our zip tie, put it up through the bottom, back down through that other hole, and then connect your zip tie. And this part's kind of a trick, you gotta kind of inchworm it on. Then you can use a screwdriver or something, tighten it up. There we go. Now my mesh is centered, and any cutting I do now I can make sure that it stays where I need it and it won't change at all. I have my zip tie holding that one on, and I'm actually going to go ahead and keep working my way over zip tying as I go. So I'm going to put one in the middle, about at this one, so right there and right there. And then I'm going to put one at the end once I can clip it. Okay? So grab your drill. So there's one. And the second one is going to be up higher. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it all the way around that, so I only have to drill the one hole. Okay? We're going to grab a zip tie. You just ratchet it on just like that. So now we're going to do the same thing over here. That's pretty matching. I'm going to cut these ends off just so that they're not sticking out on me while I'm working. Before you snip the ends, make sure they're ratcheted down as tight as they can go. Yeah, that's looking really good. So now, as you can see right here, these start to not want to match up. We're just going to kind of force it. So we're going to come over here on this edge, and we're gonna cut. Just follow the curve around. So now you probably guessed the next step. I'm gonna grab the drill and put a hole right there. All right, that one is on. Now we're gonna come over to this other side and do the same thing. And there you go. That's looking really good. Yeah? Yeah, I think it looks good. Now, we're gonna eyeball this, and it's like the one right before it, so it's gonna be this one here. This is where I'm gonna put my zip tie. Clip off the excess. And you're done. No, you're not. So now we have the top edge to do. This one right here. So really I should go grab pliers to do this. Actually, I'm just gonna cut it off. And these ones, I think I'm gonna cut off right there. All right. Oh, that one's juicing a lot. That's how I do it though. Okay. Now it would be really helpful if this piece was together so that I could get a good idea of how high it's supposed to be. Because with that piece out, ice cream man. That piece out. Alright, I'm gonna go total JDM on this and stick a zip tie through there. There you go. I guess it doesn't need to be too tight. And then with that there, I can shoot some epoxy or super glue down in there, or just kind of finish up putting these together, and that should be enough support for it to work just fine. So we're going to do the same thing around the top edge. It kind of gets a little shifty, so these ones need to come off. Put in a zip tie over here, and then you put in a zip tie over here, and see how it's wanting to bulge out like that? That is actually means we should probably put the first zip tie in the center, work our way out again, because if we do that, it looks great and it fits perfect, it's flush. And then we just give this one a little bit of a bend, and it looks like it just needs to get trimmed a little more over here. Okay? I'm just going to cut it off. Grab another one, do the other side, just like that. There we go. There we are. Alright, it's real close to being there. I think I'm just gonna do another one here, and one on the outside, and then another one here, and another on the outside, and I'm gonna call it good. And then there you have your mesh grill. This is popping out because these need cut. Anytime the mesh is warping or acting funny, it's probably because it's trying to fit into a shape that it's not happy being in. So you just gotta relieve some of that stress for it. And it's stress over here that's making it bulge. So we're gonna cut these off. Then you just kind of do one of those lookies on it. See if it's meeting your standards. That one needs clipped right there. There you go. And as long as that meets your expectations and your standards, you're good to go, all right? It looks great to me. I'm gonna paint it all black. You won't be able to really notice these cutouts. And if you do notice them, I can still do something with them. I can either just cut them off straight right here, which is probably the easiest thing and the thing that I would do. Or you can, you know, go in and fiberglass them. But I figure it's behind the mesh. Not many people are gonna notice it. And for me, I don't really care. Just like that. Clip off the back side. Grab my other one. So, looks like I'm gonna put another one here on each side, and then probably another one over here on each side. But basically, you can tell that that looks really nice, and it is basically done. Your badgeless grill. Now, if you wanted, you go cut off your badge and put it back on, or stick it over here like people like to do, or do whatever you want to it. But for me, everybody already knows it's a Subaru. Everybody that matters anyway. And so I tend to go badgeless because that's my style.
With some paint, it turned out great. Be sure to check out my spray painting video for some helpful tips to get a perfect finish on your own mesh grill. The new grille and spruced up headlights do so much for the overall look of the car. Be sure to check out my headlight refurbishing video so you can have brand new looking headlights too. Thanks for watching. Look me up on Instagram for more pictures of the finished grille and other slick DIY projects. Don't forget to stop by my store for Dirt Cheap Daily stickers, and be sure to click that subscribe button to show your support.